We're back with powerstroke project part 11, I think. I hope. We'll see. But anyway, this past weekend I didn't make a video. Things didn't exactly go my way, but I'll let you know what all went on and what we got done. I thought I had just enough of the stainless steel brake line tubing to complete this. We had enough to go from there down to our rubber hose, which I bought new. I went ahead and made that. Made the flare for that, got that hooked up. And we made the short piece. I started bending up my tubing, going from where it splits off there, up around the rear end, and where it hooks to this other right side caliper. And as luck would have it, I was about 6 or 7 inches shy of having enough, so I had to stop that part of it and order some new brake line, and I just got a box of goodies in today from Summit. Let's hope that they sent me the right thing. Yep, sure does look like it. Stainless steel tubing, 25 foot. Cost you 25 feet after shipping, cost me 49 bucks. And I prefer the stainless steel tubing because it doesn't rust. If you ever put new brake line tubing and just bought regular mild steel and you drive the vehicle every day, you'll notice it doesn't take long for it to start looking bad again. And if it's something you want to look nice, I'd highly recommend the stainless steel. Really, when you excuse me, when you make all your own flares and everything, it's not really that expensive. You get in a bigger size tubing, yes, stainless steel can get very expensive. But for this 3/16 brake line, it's not that bad. And let's see, other than the brake lines, we did get a new carrier bearing pressed onto the drive shaft. Got my drive shaft hooked up. I put a new U-joint up front because that one felt funny. The rest of them aren't that old. I replaced them a couple years ago and they're still got good grease in them. I re-greased them. At least I do have a drive shaft hooked back up to this. And after we do the brake line, we need to hook up our front tank and hook up the lines, and then we can, that way all our lines will be sealed off from any contaminants, and hopefully we can roll this thing backwards and clean all the sand out from there. I would pop the hood and show you how messy things can get when you sandblast a vehicle and the engine's still in it and everything. But you got to take precautions to seal off any openings you don't want sand. The air intake was duct taped shut. I covered up the alternator, wrapped it up with plastic. So hopefully everything that is really critical was protected through all that sandblasting I did. We'll blow it all out of there after I roll the truck out. I might not do that till this weekend. And hopefully it'll be warm enough where we can pressure wash it. I think it's supposed to turn kind of cold, and they're talking about maybe a possible snowflake or two in this area. But well, really the weather has been beautiful for November. We've had a good warm November. Pretty night. I love this time of year. I've said that before in my other videos, but I just can't express it enough. I love this time of year and this time of day before it turns super cold. Dog loves it. She's getting all frisky. Okay, we're getting off subject. That's okay. Need to put a little something different on my channel to keep some interest anyway, which, you know, I'm sure hopefully this project here is going to get more interesting, especially after I get it running. Angel, be quiet. What's wrong with you? Huh? What's wrong with you? Here's some footage of my dog. What's wrong with you? I need to make a video of her. She gets real rowdy when we play. And actually it'd be pretty funny for everybody to watch my dog kick my ass. And basically that's what she does when she gets on you. Anyway, back to the truck. Like I said, after I get that rolled out, we're going to blow all the dust off. Pressure wash under it, and hopefully we'll push it back in with the tractor. And we need to recharge the batteries. They're super low. I don't know if they'll even start it after I charge them. This truck's been sitting for a year. And like a dummy, I didn't recharge them once a month like you're supposed to. Those batteries aren't that old either. Well, Shame on me, that's all I can say. It's my own fault. But if worse comes to worse, I know the batteries are still good in the race car. If you remember, we started it back in the spring. We'll put them in here, and when it's time to go racing again, we'll just buy new batteries for the race car and leave those in here. And that's all of that. So, like I said, after we get it running, hopefully this project will get a little more interesting. We'll start doing some body work. And this will be my first, this won't be my first truck I painted with a two-tone. I used to have an 85 F-150 that was dark gray and silver. I painted it once, and the red stripes, it had red tape stripes. I don't want to do tape stripes this time. I want to paint it all. We're going to do a base coat, clear coat. And I've never painted any of my own stripes, but I've been seeing some real helpful videos on YouTube about it. And I'm going to try it out. Hopefully it'll turn out okay. With the base coat, it looks relatively easy. And if anybody who's watching this is an experienced painter and has done some striping, I'll be glad to hear some tips, especially on this particular truck. I would like to paint this truck disassembled, but there is one problem. If you go off the body lines for taping your striping, a lot of these body lines on this truck, they line up pretty good, but you can't guarantee they line up perfect. And when you go to tape it off, you don't know what that's going to look like when you put it together. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of times your stripes will look a lot straighter if you tape it off assembled. But what I don't like about painting a vehicle assembled is after you have your jams painted and all that, you get that overspray in there, even if you tape it off. I don't know, maybe there's another way to do it. I'm not that experienced of a painter. I painted my Torino, painted my 64 Fairlane. Actually, I painted this truck about 10 years ago. Then the body work came back out. It didn't really show all that much rust, and then it was like 2 years after I painted it, it all came out pretty bad. But this time that's not going to happen. We got a rust-free bed. Patch panels were welded in this truck about 2 years ago. I never did put a skin on it, and they're still looking good. All I did was spray some flat black paint over top of it. There's nothing but the weld seam for the skin there. But we will, of course, we will fix that before we paint it. Okay, we're back. Still Tuesday, November 8th. And I went ahead and bent up a brake line, the last of the brake lines for my 94 Power Stroke. Thought I'd do a little video of making a tubing flare. Finally spit that out. Alright, first, the most important thing not to forget, and I've done this a lot, is to put your nut on before you make your flare. I can't tell you how many times I've cussed myself. I go ahead and make a nice looking flare and then realize that the nut was off. I forgot to put the nut on. And guess what? Once you make that flare, see, like on this end, we already got one. Ha! You can't get the nut on it. I know it sounds like common sense, but believe me, when you're anxious to get something together, it's very easy to forget. Okay, first thing you do, here is the vise part of the flaring tool. This is a cheap flaring tool kit, but it works. If I was to buy one all over again, I'd recommend finding a good, high quality, American made one. You'll spend more money, but believe me, it'd be worth it. Just like anything else you buy cheap. I'm not much for the Chinese made crap. I don't know. The prices are tempting, but a lot of times you don't regret buying it. It always ends up breaking or doesn't work right or something. But the biggest flaw with this one is this little vise just doesn't seem to want to hold the tubing very well. But anyway, what I do is stick this thing in my vise to get these two surfaces flat. Of course, you run your tubing through the 3/16 hole. You got several different sizes. Do that to keep these two surfaces flat, like I said, and we tighten up this nut. Really, this is a junky old flaring tool, but that's why you see different size nuts on each end and all that crap. Okay, that's tight. And something else to help it hold a little better. Let's hope I don't hit the wall here with this tubing. Just trying to hit a little bit.